very spicy, like, at all.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely not as, like, saccharine as the Starbucks chai.
Yeah, that is.
So I think Dunkin' wins yet again.
I might have to get some chai next. I've been on a matcha kick for like a year now.
Dude, matcha slaps.
Because I can't really have coffee anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Something about specifically the caffeine in coffee messes with my medication more than any other source of caffeine. It's just a noted thing that for some reason...
But matcha has more caffeine in it than coffee.
Yeah, but I can have a matcha and be fine. But like I'll drink a coffee and be like jittery and be like, my brain's like 2 inches to the left.
Oh, no.
My brain feels normal, but it's like 2 inches to the left.
Nothing is getting done today.
Which is weird, because coffee used to do the opposite. But
yeah, that sucks.
now I'm just hyper and I can't focus, which is a terrible combo.
Yeah, just like, I want to do things, but I'm just vibrating. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
I know that pain.
I don't, unfortunately. I've just been self-medicating with caffeine for ages, and then I found out more science about, like, the pathways in your brain and how they process caffeine, and how that also helps you with dopamine regulation, which is an issue you have when you have ADHD. And I went, oh, I actually was just self-medicating. I've joked about this for years, but I'm like, I've actually just been doing that. Whoops.
Well, you know. Speaking of self-medicating, hi and welcome to Blank Bodies, a Vampire the Masquerade V5 tabletop and horror podcast. I'm your host, Hunter, and as always, I'm joined by...
John.
And Sarah, and I do want to say, for the record, that our boy Luigi did nothing wrong. He was supposed to be in the booth with us, but, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody goddamn snitched. Anyways, it's been a minute since we've been here. Hi, we had a holiday break.
Yeah, welcome to 2025.
Ayo, we made it.
We time traveled.
We time traveled. I don't know if we're going to have TikTok.
I don't know.
I don't know what to do with that.
I don't know what's happening.
If this episode gets to you by the 9th, yeah, it will get to you by the 19th, right? 19th's the cutoff day, right?
Yeah.
If you, from what I understand, if you download it and make sure you have it updated, it will work at least for a while, because all the ban right now is doing is
taking it away from, like, the Play stores.
making it so you can't.
ByteDance said that if the ban's going to go through, they're just going to cut it.
Okay.
Entirely. So I don't know, but they're also having the appeal at the Supreme Court, which if you get to listen to that, it's actually really interesting. Anyways, hi, you're here for milk.
Yeah. It's the milk episode.
In honor of milk episode, I brought a oat chai latte.
Milk.
We decided to start 2025 off right. We've done a lot of crazy stuff, but that was all pre-cum. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Did you say nuttin'?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fucking goddamn it. Okay.
You can use a lot of nuts to make milk.
So for those of you who are confused, we had a Patreon goal since we started our Patreon of, hey, if you get us to $500 a month, we will do 4 episodes a month. So every week you'll get to listen to us yap.
Huzzah!
Mm-hmm.
Huzzah!
You get to hear our succulent voices.
A succulent Chinese meal. And as an extra incentive, I was like, yeah, I'll write an episode about the horrors of milk and dairy in World of Darkness. Haha. And then you guys latched onto that. Haha. With like a vice grip.
We can't trust you with ha-has.
I'm learning that. I keep getting Werewolf Daddy keeps threatening me with the 800-person Barani.
Our 800-person biryani would be a very fun event for a convention, but I feel like the amount of... We're not there yet. We're not ready.
We're not there yet. So thank you, patrons, for getting us to $500 a month. We are trying to reinvest the money you have given us into more content.
Yeah.
And more things going forward. Some things got a little bit stymied because I'm going to gesture to the world that's quite literally on fire. Sorry, LA.
Also, it's snowy.
It is snowy here. We got a fuckload of snow. I love it. I know no one else is happy.
Nyx, when we were walking through the field the other day, walking. I was chasing her through the snow because it's a lot of fun. She tripped because of snow, and she just disappeared for a moment.
We actually
it's
got
that
like
deep.
actual snow.
Yeah, it's
guys.
deep enough that Nyx, who's a pretty big dog, was out of visibility when she
gone.
fell.
Oh,
And then
poor
she
baby.
came up. She's a black dog. She's covered in snow. It's so cute.
Yeah, so we'll update the Patreon soonish, but just so you guys know, our plan currently right now for the new Patreon goals is if we get to $750 a month, we're going to send everybody who is part of the Patreon a cool little thank you swag item.
Mm-hmm.
And we're also going to do a little travel vlog of Indianapolis and World of Darkness because our city's canon now.
Yay!
Yeah. And then if we get to $1,000 a month, we were planning on doing a 24-hour World of Darkness content streaming thing with the three of us for 24 hours.
It will become unhinged.
It will be super unhinged. I think we're going to do it in shifts, though.
Yeah, definitely.
So we got a rough plan for that.
I'm medically not allowed to stay up that long anymore.
No. So we're doing it in shifts. So you get different flavors of crazy over the course of 24 hours.
I'll probably bring some friends over or something.
Oh, hell yeah.
Get weird with it.
Get super weird.
Word.
And then if we get to 1,500, we will do a travel vlog, but of Chicago for World of Darkness.
Which means we have to go to Chicago.
Yeah, we got to go film a whole documentary in Chicago.
Last time I was in Chicago, a crazy cat lady followed us for like a block and a half and talked about her cats. She smelled kind of like cat pee.
That sucks. Last time I was in Chicago, I went to Chinatown.
Nice.
And there was a really cool French pastry, Asian cuisine fusion bakery. So I got croissants full of mango, like custard.
I don't like mangoes, but that sounds tasty.
It was, yeah, they also had ones that were matcha cream. It was very good. I was a fatty fat. I bought so many croissants.
Last time I was in Chicago, I saw the Blood Brothers reunion show, and then
You're
we
literally
just left.
wearing the shirt from
I am.
it.
So
You forgot to grab me merch.
I did.
You jerk.
Yeah, they still have it on their website, so I can just grab it for you there.
I'm gonna cry.
Well, save your precious bodily fluids, John. We have to get through this episode.
I actually don't know if they had merch set up. I think they literally were just like, buy it online. And so I was like, okay.
Oh,
and then
really?
it wasn't in front of me, so I didn't think about it.
Fair enough.
I love that for everyone. So, content warning, we will be talking about body fluids, body horror, food safety issues, health, illness, death.
If someone wrote a biography about me, I think all that would be in there.
Yeah. So if body functions and other things like that give you the ick, if Cronenberg is not your bag, feel free to skip this episode.
If the sound makes you go, oh, God, then maybe go to another episode.
Yeah, that's fair. Normally I would share my sources, but to not spoil this episode, those sources will be in the show notes this time.
Done.
Cool. So, milk, what is it?
Blood and pus and some water.
Not quite. No.
I'm actually reading the script here, and there's a quote. It says, blood is liquid secreted by the mammary glands of female mammals to nourish their young for a period beginning immediately after birth. And then that's in parentheses, it says Britannica.
Yeah, that's a Britannica definition for milk.
Milk.
Not blood. Blood is a different fluid.
Yeah, but there's blood in it.
No. There can be, but no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So vampires can't drink milk.
We'll get to it.
Oh boy.
So cow's milk is the most common form of dairy consumed, followed by sheep, goat, camel, water buffalo, yak, horse, reindeer, and donkey.
In that order?
Not necessarily in that order.
Damn.
Unfortunately, it was close. Like sheep, goat, and then camel are like kind of the more. That four are the most common, and then a smattering of these others.
Okay.
I think I've had goat milk before. I know I've had goat cheese before, but I don't know if I've had any of the others on that list intentionally.
I wonder what water
Maybe in
buffalo
cheeses
milk tastes like.
I think that one's fatty. I don't remember.
Hey, any of y'all out there who have had some water buffalo milk? If you're not part of our Discord, join our Discord. If only to message us and let us know what it tastes like.
Maybe we could do a milk segment of our 24-hour stream where we taste a bunch of different milks and their cheeses.
God.
Cheeses would be fine.
Yeah.
I feel like cheeses would be okay, but I don't want to do the milk and the cheese. That'll be a segment where my ass is asleep.
Syra, I thought we here on this show were dedicated to in-depth journalism and research. But you won't taste goat milk for our listeners?
It's not the goat milk I'm concerned about. It's more like horse.
Horse milk?
I'm concerned. It gets weirder. Strap in.
If you drink enough reindeer milk, will you float?
Oh, God. So the UN Food and Agricultural Organization is pushing for people in developing countries to keep non-traditional dairy animals, such as llamas, to balance dietary benefits with their environmental impact.
Oh
Okay.
no.
Because things like cows and sheep, particularly cows, are very rough on the environment for raising them for food production.
Right.
And actually, I did some Googling
Mm-hmm.
as we were talking here, and it's not just a problem here. Apparently, in Europe, it's getting harder and harder to buy horse/mare's milk, according to pumpjackandpiddlewick.com. So
That is one of the most English goddamn website names I have ever heard.
Absolutely. Wait.
Some dustbins fell over in Piddlewick. God. Fucking goddamn it. There's going to be a knife crime.
also, apparently, it tastes pretty similar to regular milk.
I like dairy, like cow milk. Huh.
I
So,
had
wonder
no
if it's
idea.
because they have pretty much the same diet.
yeah.
Maybe. So platypuses do make milk, by the way.
Hell yeah, well, they're mammals.
Yeah, well, no.
Kind of.
They're not mammals.
No,
They're
they're...
marsupials,
Yeah.
which is like a divergent of mammals. So
Yeah.
they're pseudo-mammals. I'm sure there's
It
biology.
has the word mammal in it.
I'm sure there's biology people that are screaming, but I'm a humanities person. I'm sorry. I'm trying my best.
I think that we should say platypusi.
But actually, that's not correct.
I know.
Platypuses.
I know. I want to say
platypussy.
platypusi.
Platypussies.
Platypus.
The platussies. So the platypuses, they do make milk, but they lack nipples.
They just secrete it from their skin.
Yeah, some other platypuses make milk on these places called milk patches along their stomach, and they basically just sweat it out.
Weird.
I know, right?
So cool.
Also, fun fact, evolutionarily, platypuses developed the bill before ducks.
I knew that.
Yeah.
Fucking wild.
So I'm like, oh, so when we call it the duck-billed platypus, we're like, actually, it's the platypus-billed duck.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Important stuff.
Important stuff. Studies are indicating that platypus milk contains antibacterial properties within their proteins. This protein is being researched as a means to combat antibiotic-resistant strains of bacteria.
Interesting.
So are we gonna start farming platypusi to harvest their milk off their tummies?
I think once researchers are able to like isolate the protein and what it does,
They'll
they
just
can
make
probably just make the protein.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, we're kind of at that level now.
Yeah, with the science, which is cool, but also, heck.
Scary.
Though if you want like a cool science, but it makes me happy, there's animations of neurons putting like protein chains down, and it's like this little guy with little wobbly feet carrying a big protein like down a neuron chain. There's little animations of it. It's weirdly cute.
I believe it.
And I'm like, no, that's literally what it looks like, guys. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. What else did I write? Also, there is no official term for a baby platypus.
Why not?
I don't know, but they can be referred to as puggles or platypus.
I like
Or
puggles.
platypups. Sorry.
Platypups?
Yeah.
That's the one.
They're both cute.
They're both good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Puggle is just like... It's a beagle pug mix. It's actually... That's a thing.
Okay,
Puggles.
that makes sense.
Yeah. Platypup, though.
Platypup is
Platypup.
good.
That is...
Pretty
That's solid.
cute. Yeah, I don't know why the article about the platypus milk antibiotic research had to note this,
That's important shit.
but I did note that per the Ocean Action Hub, there's not enough research or material to say that platypus milk is safe for human consumption, so please do not.
Keep your lips off the milk patch.
Check.
Because I
Done.
knew if I talked about this and I didn't specifically research, can you drink platypus milk and put the note in there, somebody's gonna get real fucking upset.
So when we get to the milk segment of our stream, there will not be platypus
There will
milk
not.
unless there's a major scientific breakthrough.
Well, that, I guess, yeah.
And
Patreon
if
tier of
it's
$2 million.
legal,
I'll drink some platypus milk.
That's
I think-
fair.
I don't know if we could do that, because that means we'd have to send you to Australia, which is fine, but Australia's also really big on their animal conservation, and I feel like if you go fucking around with platypuses...
Yeah,
Well,
Australians
somebody's gonna
also
get
might
upset.
think it's funny.
Yeah,
They're
it's
like,
true.
Uh-huh.
this American wants to drink platypus milk. They'll be like, all right.
Yeah, right.
I
Does
guess he
you-
wants to
I'm-
give a go of it.
I'm sure
No.
for $2 million a month, I'm just saying, like,
You'll do some dumbass shit.
We could grease
could-
some.
we could grease some pump. We could probably literally just, like, get it sanctioned with a zoo.
That's true.
I don't want to do the
We could do a study and just make you one of the people who drinks
Exactly.
it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I don't think that's how we do studies anymore, but if we would have the kind of money we could just
We
do
could.
it anyway.
Just hey, we find the two guys in Australia that are researching the consumability of platypus milk.
Exactly.
And we're just like, hey, we're gonna fund your research, but you have to let him have a sip.
We have your test subject.
One of them. I know you're gonna need a bigger sample size because that's how samples work. So the earliest evidence of human dairy consumption traces back to roughly 7,000 to 6,000 BCE in Turkey and Eastern Europe through residue found in pottery showing cheese production.
Whoa.
I do like nice.
Yeah, which I'm like, that's neat.
Yeah.
So that means we've probably been fucking with milk and cheese and all that shit way
Forever.
before that.
Yeah.
Science is neat.
Science is real neat.
I love science.
The genetic markers for producing lactose or being able to process lactose shows in Europeans around 5,000 BCE. So there's also scientific evidence that we were fucking with it way before we should have.
Oh.
I know so many people who are lactose intolerant.
And they don't give a
just
fuck.
do it.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's like, but pizza.
I'm gonna be gassy tonight.
I'm just like,
I get it.
I guess.
It's tasty.
Some more milk facts. Whole milk contains 6 major components: vitamins, proteins, minerals, fats, sugar, and water.
Yeah.
Milk contains water-soluble and fat-soluble vitamins. When the fat content is lowered in milk, the fat-soluble vitamins, mostly vitamin A and vitamin D, may be added back in during the process, like when it's being processed.
Oh, because they're like, oops, we took it all out.
We took it out. We gotta put it back in. Yep.
Yeah. Or else it won't be good for you.
Or as good.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I actually drank milk.
Me neither. I mean, sometimes I'll drink like an almond milk or a cashew milk.
Well,
or
I've had
a nut milk or something.
I've had things in a coffee. I've had like a hot chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
just
eat
a
cheese,
glass
but
of milk.
yeah, just a glass of milk, like
Yeah.
actual any
No.
any sort of just milk, even like a chocolate milk.
Even
I
if I'm
can't
doing
remember.
chocolate milk, I've still pretty much switched over to nut milks. I'll explain why I did that later in the episode.
Oh.
Like now with my oat milk chai,
Mm-hmm.
which I know somebody is going to say I'm cheating on the milk episode, but fuck you. In terms of protein, most protein in cow's milk is in the substance known as casein, but in human milk, it is the whey.
Ah.
So you'll have different types and amounts of protein and fats and various things depending on what kind of mammal is producing the milk.
Yeah.
So you can have a dairy sommelier.
Would that change at all? Again, depending on like diet.
Probably.
So if like a person just ate a cow's diet, would their milk taste more like cow's milk?
Possibly.
Hmm.
I didn't go to the lactation websites really and delve that far.
Blankbodies@gmail.com.
If you want to,
If you'd like to help us solve this mystery.
if any mothers want to give us, the information on this kind of thing. Because I have had experiences with partners consuming various kinds of diets affecting other bodily fluids. So I don't know why that wouldn't affect
Right. Yeah,
milk.
absolutely.
But I'm not into that fluid like that. So
No.
I don't know off the top of the dome.
Absolutely no
And
idea.
because I am a femme person in their 30s, I try to avoid any search terms involving natal, baby,
that
anything.
makes sense. Yeah.
Because then the algorithms just give me nothing but like, hey, are you a mom? Do you want these things? And I'm like, I don't want to make a person. Please fuck off.
Yeah.
My ads all think I'm Hispanic. I constantly get ads in Spanish,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool because I feel like I have no idea what they're talking to me, so I feel free.
In terms of protein, I've already talked about that. Continuing on, while milk is known for being high in calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, these minerals typically exist in compounds. So they don't float around individually. It's usually some sort of like magnesium salt or calcium salt, which is kind of fun. Most fatty acids have a bad smell to them, but not triglycerides.
Oh.
Fun fact. And triglycerides are the fats that are often found in milk. And when milk goes bad, that's because the triglyceride chains are breaking down, which causes the bad smell.
Those assholes.
Butyric acid and caprylic acid are what make that really funky, like, vomit smell when milk goes bad.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what triglycerides break down.
Sharp, like,
Yeah.
tangy.
We're just like the pre-death smell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I have some friends who are getting really into colognes, and they've talked about trying to make their own colognes. I'm gonna suggest that they use butyric and a caproic acid smell for their colognes and see what happens.
Hell yeah.
See,
Like
they
I've heard that,
actually-
I'd be like, I've heard that's a really good combo.
Oh, rude. Real strong
That's all you
bass
need to know.
notes.
Strong base.
Rude. Lactose is the sugar found in milk. It is a disaccharide, which means it's made up of 2 smaller sugars.
Ah, cute.
Lactose intolerance comes from the lack of the enzyme lactase that would allow you to break down the bond between those 2 sugars, which would allow you to digest it.
So that's probably what's in those pills that are like, take this pill, eat all the fucking cheese you want.
Yep.
Got it.
You're just temporarily giving your body some, like, here's this enzyme, go.
Yeah, okay.
Nice.
Yeah. Casein exists within milk as a calcium salt known as calcium caseinate.
Caseinate.
As milk sours, bacteria ferments lactose into lactic acid, which drops the pH, which causes the calcium calcinate to fall out of solution.
Oh. And is that why it gets like a weird chunky
Yeah, that's one of
Multiple
many
textures.
reasons why when milk rots, it just like becomes multiple parts because milk is essentially just a solution of several things floating.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. When it falls out of solution, it forms together into a micelle, which is a cluster of ions, atoms, or molecules that form its own kind of particle. This is also how micellar water works, with the particle surfactant having a hydrophilic and a lipid end.
Oh.
Yeah, so if you're somebody that uses micellar water for like getting rid of makeup,
Yeah.
yeah, you just got this little particle that one side likes to cling to water and one side clings to fat. So a lot of the oils that are like in your skin or in your makeup will cling to that side, and then the back half of the particle will cling to the water that washes it off your face.
Cool.
Yeah,
Did not know.
yeah. Science is cool.
Mm-hmm.
This is the process that also starts making cheese.
Awesome.
We're not talking about cheese this episode. If you want that, that's another episode.
I don't know if there's enough lore
On cheese?
on cheese.
I'm
Oh, I'm
certain.
sure.
I'm certain.
Toreador exist.
I mean, I like cheese.
Don't get me wrong,
It'd
fucking
be
love
easy
cheese.
to convince me to talk about and try many cheeses. I'm just not sure if this is the show for it.
No, the show, yes. This episode, no. All I gotta think of is the quote from Boondocks is, "Granddad, you can't contain the white power structure with cheese." Yes, I can. Because we are 3 honkies and we all got very excited for a half a second about the idea of talking about cheese.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, got him.
They were right. Fuck.
Fuck. Also, milk. How can this be bad? All of this sounds pretty cool and chill. It can go very, very bad. So, milk is a horror show. Just in general.
It is a horror show? Or as a horror show?
It is.
'Cause
So,
I think making a horror show about milk would be fun.
don't give go-go ideas.
Mm.
So, the environmental impacts. 33% of cropland is used for feeding grazing animals such as cattle.
Yeah, that's dumb.
That's a lot. That's a lot of food that's going to make food.
To make not really even that efficient food.
Yeah. Dairy production contributes approximately 3% of all global greenhouse emissions, which is more than air travel.
Damn.
Yeah. Industrial dairy farms practice contiguous impregnation and early removal of the young. Small confines, runoff manure affects local ecology, and various ethically dubious practices, such as feeding dead cows to other cows that are alive, which has led to outbreaks such as bovine spongiform encephalopathy, which is known as mad cow disease.
Oh, hey, also, content warnings. Animal cruelty.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Whoops.
We're usually really good at that, guys. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Whoops.
Yeah, that's why I stopped eating beef when I watched Food Inc. And that one section where he's like, yeah, our cows don't move enough, so they can't digest proper. So instead of, like, just that happening, we just made a hole in their side so we can do it for them. And he just, like, unplugs the cow's stomach, essentially, and puts his arm in there to slosh the stuff around and puts it back.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
I think I'm done.
I don't think I can eat beef anymore.
That's fair.
Yeah. There's many reasons where I'm just like, less is good. I'm not going to tell anybody to, like, stop.
Yeah, no way. I'm not going to
Yeah.
either.
Yeah, but I'm like, less. I don't think we need to do this much, guys. Like, not every meal needs to be a cheeseburger. we have more options now,
Yeah.
which is cool and good. Also,
And tasty.
mad cow disease, like that kind of an outbreak, is part of the reason I can't donate blood.
Hell yeah.
I was in Britain during the mad cow or the foot and mouth pandemic back in the 90s. So
I can't donate blood for a totally different reason.
that's because it's tuberculosis.
Yeah.
Now we can't say it again, lest John Green arrive. He lives here in the city. He can't find us. Just the ever looming threat of John Green.
I once accidentally made fun of him to his face in high school.
Yeah.
What?
Great
What?
job.
He did. I guess I might as well share this story. I was an edgy teenager.
No
Who
shit.
could have guessed? And I guess he did like a speaking at my school, and he was sitting at a table like advertising it, and I didn't notice him or realize it was him. And I walked by and saw the signs like John Green giving a speech. I said, "Oh, is that guy who writes those shitty Tumblr books?" And then I kind of looked like a foot over, and there was a man there. I just kind of made eye contact and kept walking. I was like, I don't know how to deal with the situation. I'm leaving. And that is my only interaction with John Green. One Hoosier content creator to another.
Beautiful.
Whoops. Fun fact, everybody. Raw milk is in fact bad.
No, actually, it gives me psychic powers.
So historically, pathogens linked to improperly handled milk could cause what they referred to as summer complaint.
That's such a cute name.
Man, I hate the summer too.
This was usually a weird combination of bovine tuberculosis, undulant fever, scarlet fever, typhoid, dysentery, and diphtheria.
All at the same time?
Yes, no, maybe kind of combination.
That's just sounds
Yeah.
just
Kind of like when you
not-
go to a pill party. And there's a bowl with a lot of different pills in them.
Yeah, you just
and
take
you're
a
taking
handful.
some. And you know the list, but you don't know what you're getting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just,
Unless you know a lot about pills or diseases. You're probably just getting a combo.
Yeah.
well, I was gonna
yeah.
say, you know how people just call something ubiquitously the flu, but there's like many subspecies of flu.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, except it's like Oregon Trail diseases that you just shit yourself to death.
It's like, well, he pooped himself and then he died. It's one of these 8 things.
You know, the summer complaint.
Yeah.
He wouldn't stop whining and then he died.
Yeah. Accounts of spinal and bone tuberculosis from raw milk have been recounted by authors such as Gloria Paris and Gail Perkins.
Pause. Bone tuberculosis?
Yeah, you can get tuberculosis in your bones.
Googling.
It's very painful and bad. Funnily enough, I did get those sources from a John Green video.
Thanks, John Green.
Thanks, John. I have said tuberculosis the magic amount of times, so we're hoping if we thank him and appease him, he will not kick in Hunter's door.
Yeah. I'm sorry I made fun of your Tumblr books.
He's done cool things with the Tumblr book money, at least.
That's probably true. I don't know. I don't pay
He
attention
works
to
with
people.
he works with the UN to combat tuberculosis, like, across the planet.
That is cool.
Yeah,
I just don't I don't pay attention to people.
that's fair. I don't blame you. Which, fun fact, both Gloria and Gail are still alive.
Oh.
This was not that long ago.
Oh.
I'm glad they're doing well.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey. You too.
Good going.
Great job.
Yeah. But yeah, their books recount some horrifying medical procedures they've had to go through their entire lives because they got bone tuberculosis from bad milk.
So it's not worth getting into raw milk just so I can get in touch with the sacred feminine, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Hippie ladies.
In modern times, E. coli, salmonella, and listeria are much more like commonly the concerns with raw milk consumption. Quoting from the FDA, the germs in raw milk can be especially dangerous to people with weakened immune systems, such as transplant patients and individuals with HIV/AIDS, cancer, and diabetes, children, older adults, and pregnant women. I wish they said pregnant people, but, you know, they're trying. We're getting there. So, yeah, typically...
Or just the pregnant. I feel like...
The pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Solves the problem.
I feel like that's simpler.
That sounds scary, though.
Pregnancy is terrifying.
Yeah,
The
I
pregnant
don't
would
want
be
that.
coming. I mean,
I don't
that's
want
true.
it.
That's fair.
If
This
we're
bone
opening
tuberculosis-
it up like that, that means it's a threat to me, and I don't like it.
Look at that.
Yeah.
I'm looking at X-rays of bone tuberculosis.
Yeah, it's
and they're
horrifying.
They're pretty fucked.
If you Google it, it's not good.
It's a bad time.
Reminds me of those in the newer Mortal Kombat games where they have the X-ray attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, don't worry, he's posted in the Patreon chat. I googled lactation website and posted a screenshot, and Sarah talked about that. And now we got some bone tuberculosis.
Oh
so
man, the Patreon chat's
sorry,
gonna be
folks.
spicy.
Let's see how they put all this together.
So the FDA did say if you are a healthy adult and you're consuming a raw dairy product from like a clean farm that like you work on a family farm and you get some and and you do proper food safety, it's fine. But a lot of the times the problem is so much of the food industry is very industrialized, so a lot of those safety precautions aren't really there.
Yeah, no.
And a lot of people that, drink and consume raw milk products for getting in touch with the divine feminine or whatever the fuck are not smart people, and I do not expect them to follow food safety standards.
I expect them to.
I could barely get people to handle food safety standards when I've been a barista. And the fridge is right there. It's right by your knee. Just put it back.
I expect them to. Will they live up to my expectations? Probably not.
I don't expect shit from them.
As long as they're not feeding me, you know what? Let them live their life.
They can get the bone
Consuming
tuberculosis.
Yeah.
improperly handled raw food products can result in food poisoning, which gives the symptoms of vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal pain, flu-like symptoms such as fever, headache, and body aches. Listeria in particular is dangerous for the pregnant, causing illness, miscarriage, and the death of the baby and the parent.
Brutal.
That's rough. Also, thank you for updating the script to
In
my
lifetime.
phrasing.
Honestly, it's kind of the best phrasing I've heard for that so far.
Thank you.
To be gender inclusive. You know what? You truly are an ally.
It is. I'm marking that down. I coined that phrase. I called it. We're using the pregnant.
pregnant.
The
You're
pregnant.
welcome.
It also just sounds intimidating and I feel like the right amount of gravitas.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so milk sold in New Jersey in the late 1800s was so full of liquefying colonies of bacteria that researchers at the time simply gave up on their counts.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Brutal.
Yeah. The Indiana Department of Health in 1900 published finding sticks, hair, insects, blood, pus, and manure sold in products.
Delicious.
It was estimated at that time that Indianapolis residents were consuming roughly 2,000 pounds of manure per year through improperly processed dairy.
As a
city.
city?
As a
okay.
city.
I'd say that's a lot of. I
But
feel like
that's a lot regardless.
that's
a
a lot
lot.
regardless. But
Yeah, considering
But also in
1800s,
Yeah,
or 1900, Indianapolis was just like the downtown area, pretty much. That's horrifying. We're not a big state now, let alone then.
The population of Indianapolis in 1900 was 169,164 people.
That's horrifying. That makes it so much worse.
2,000 pounds calculator time.
Calculator time, do the math, because my brain doesn't want to
I
brain.
was gonna do it, but he started doing it, so I'm gonna let him do
John's on a roll.
I found my purpose.
it. Yep, you're the group calculator.
He's got the little laptop open.
He does. It's nice.
It's nice. It's helpful.
What is it, 2,000 pounds?
2,000 pounds.
That means, oh my god.
You just
So per
You
person.
did
Oh, no, no.
200, not
Whoops, I did
2,000.
okay. So, well, we'll just move the
Yeah, just move the decimal point over one.
84.5 pounds a year.
Fucking God, I hate that.
84.6 if we're rounding.
That's awful. Oh my God. That makes it so much worse than when I wrote it down initially. I hate this.
That's a lot of poop!
Yeah. So
yeah. I'm not gonna question the math. We'll just keep moving.
Was it wrong?
forward.
was
We'll do
it?
again.
Did you do 2,000 over? What was it? 100.
I think he took the population and divided
Oops.
it by 2,000.
Yeah, I did it the wrong
yeah,
way.
yeah, I was gonna say that sounds
2,000.
crazy.
Listen,
That's
I am not one who does math.
It's your first time being a calculator.
I'm sure there's
It's
one
okay.
person out there in the world who was really excited about that.
Okay, that's probably much more reasonable. 0.018.
That's still.
0.1012, excuse me.
That's still too much. I don't
Yeah.
like it.
It's too much. But I could understand how you wouldn't notice drinking it compared to our
Well,
previous
I know.
our previous
82
research.
pounds.
I was just like, that's insane. And I trusted you, too. Like, straight up.
You're just like,
I'm
yeah,
not the math-
854 pounds of poop each makes sense.
He said 84. He said 84. It was also 1900. Like, these people were doing fucking radium about it, and, you know.
I was about to say, were they like putting lead in things because it. Just cause?
No, they well, they were doing because it was cheap. They knew lead was bad.
Yeah.
The radium though was spicy. So sometimes suppliers will cut their supply. So the dairy industry used to thin out their supplies of milk by cutting the milk with water and sometimes gelatin, along with coloring it with dyes, chalk, and plaster.
That'll thicken it up a bit.
Mm-hmm. Reporters for the Indianapolis News were given bottles of quote-unquote wriggling milk. It turned out the local dairyman had been cutting the supply with stagnant water, which caused the milk to be full of worms.
Yo, still water?
Still water.
Hell yeah. Still water. It's making a comeback, baby.
That's awful.
If you're up on the modern trends and you're into still water, try yourself some wriggling milk.
Still
Put
water
yourself ahead of the crowd.
Still water creates wriggling milk. Mm-hmm. That's the true danger of still water.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And in more modern horrors, there was the 2008 Chinese milk scandal.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
So the Sanlu Group, which includes the Three Deer Company, put melamine, which is a trimer of cyanamide, which is a combination of three molecules that is used as a fire retardant. Insulation is what makes the foam up in magic erasers. They're using this to cut milk products, infant formula, and other foodstuffs.
Great. That should be in there.
This poisoned at least 300,000 infants that they were able to record in China, as well as hospitalizing at least 54,000 and killed officially 6.
Wow.
Yeah. This is why food regulation's important, goddammit. The dairy industry also used to thicken milk and creams by adding liquefied calf brains.
Okay.
Who wants to read the quote?
Ooh.
Yeah, read it. Go.
I didn't even know there was a quote. Hold on.
It's italicized. John looks horrified, just so the audience knows. John's pre-reading this, which is good. I'm proud of him, but he looks so upset and now is giggling.
I'm excited.
Do we need to give him a minute?
People could not be induced to eat brain sandwiches in sufficient amount to use all the brains, and so a new market was devised. Surprisingly enough, it really did look like cream, but coagulated when poured into the hot coffee.
That's from the Indiana Health Department?
Mm-hmm.
They were just like, we got this little brain, nobody wants to eat it, I'll just...
Yeah, we'll just blend that shit and put it in the cream, nobody will know.
Interesting.
Until it coagulates in the coffee.
Yeah.
You get chunky brain coffee.
Yeah.
I mean, on the surface, gross. But is there any reason to not consume cow brain? As opposed to other parts of the cow that we eat?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are certain, like, prion diseases that do specifically live in brain matter.
So just brains in general aren't a good idea to eat?
Raw. Having them cooked is good, but because they're just blending it and putting it into creamer, I don't think it was cooked or pasteurized. So probably not good.
Okay, it's specifically John looked it up, and it specifically just says mad cow disease.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the thing I was warning about earlier, I'm like, yeah, don't.
So cows eating cow brain is what caused mad cow disease.
Just dead cow getting blended and then thrown into cow feed. Mm-hmm. And then those cows would get blended and fed to other cows. It just became this weird, vicious Ouroboros of insanity.
Horror.
Yeah. And also, if you look up video of cows with mad cow disease, it's so sad.
Yeah.
I feel so bad.
I watch enough sad videos on accident. I don't think I'm gonna Google that.
I'm not gonna ask you to Google that at all. This is an episode where I'm like, you don't need to look this up.
Yeah. Unless it's some of the fun stuff like water buffalo cheese. Have fun with that.
Yeah, that could be
but-
fine. See, we started nice, going through the portion, and then you're gonna get a treat at the end, guys.
Ooh, a treat.
Also, in past times, the dairy industry would add preservatives to milk to prevent souring by adding formaldehyde, both for
What?
its preservation qualities and the slightly sweet taste it would give. This practice was so common that newspapers referred to it as embalmed milk.
When was this happening?
It's kinda
this was
sick.
still in the 1900s?
Yeah, this is like late
Or
1800s, early 1900s.
Okay.
Chemical companies even worked out new formulas of formaldehyde called isolene and preservaline, specifically for the dairy industry.
Great.
Yeah.
Hey, they were trying. They're like, what if we make this specifically?
Yeah. Well, the government's like, no more formaldehyde in the milk, and they're like, it's not formaldehyde, it's preservaline. That's different. And I'm like, guys, I've always been doing this. This is like,
Yeah.
guys, this is why we need. This is why this is a time where I'm like, no, we need government regulations. We need it.
Food regulation is important. Yeah.
They got that quick too, though. It was banned in 1906, so they went straight to.
We'll even get
Nice.
into that a little bit too.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Ooh.
So milk, can it be stopped?
No.
Kinda. If all of this made your tummy go ick and I'm done, I don't want it anymore, and you care about the environment, I'm gonna suggest you seek out milk alternatives.
Yay.
Soy milk has nearly the same protein and nutrients that dairy milk has. Other plant alternatives, such as oat and almond and various things like that, have to be fortified to match dairy milk protein and nutrients, but it can be done fairly easily. I'm going to suggest, particularly if you live in the Americas, don't consume too much almond product, because almonds are a very water-intense crop, and almost all of the almonds in our area are grown in California, which clearly does not have enough fucking water.
Yeah.
Stop buying almonds.
Yeah.
Or at least tone it down.
Also, I will note the one thing that I was going to say this earlier and we kept moving on. The one dairy product that I do consume a lot of that you might be careful when searching out a alternative for would be whey. If you're buying, like, I have whey protein daily.
Yeah.
Because I've been lifting and I have like protein goals, and that just makes it really easy to hit. You have to be careful with plant-based protein powder, quote unquote whey powder. It's kind of like tuna, where it's safe to eat, but if you eat too much tuna within a week, all of a sudden
You got too much mercury.
you got too much mercury. There, I believe it's mercury in plant-based proteins as well. But yeah, so you have to be careful with your source for protein-based
You're
or
kind
plant-based proteins, because you can only have it a couple times a week without being into a bit of a
like the
danger
protein
zone.
powders?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I have like some plant-based protein powders, but I can only have it like a couple times a week.
Because it's like I consume
I think
lot
it's
of...
lead, though. I think
Yeah,
in
is it
plants it's
lead?
specifically
Okay,
lead.
if you can Google that real quick, that'd be cool. Yeah, because like I consume a lot of plant protein myself, but that's usually because I eat like chickpeas,
It's different when you're eating a plant
like as a
that
whole food.
has, and when you're getting the processed, we're like powdering down the protein from plants, I believe.
Yeah, I was like, I'm usually not as fucked about whey protein because I believe those whey protein companies buy whey from like cream and cheese manufacturers because they would otherwise they'd have to chuck the whey
Right.
because they're removing that shit to get to the
make
other
the
parts.
cheese,
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna take my car key down to Ava. She's wants
Oh,
the food
okay,
out
so
of
pause.
my car. Pause for just a moment.
While you do that, can I just read this fact real quick about lead?
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, it's just mostly for Sarah, but so actually a news article from 2 days ago, the 9th on CNN, lead and cadmium found in muscle building protein powders, specifically one plant-based. There's a whole, do some Googling. If you do that, do some Googling. I'm looking at a couple different articles here, but it says specifically rice, pea, and soy-based protein powders have a lead and cadmium poisoning, and the lead people have been worried about for about a year now. I've been
That
seeing
might be a
peeps about.
manufacturer problem more than anything else, because I know those proteins follow under like the supplements here in the U.S., and supplements are not regulated by the FDA. Fun fact. So when you're buying supplements, please do your research, because you could be buying literally nothing.
Or lead.
Or cadmium.
Yeah.
Spicy bones.
Spicy bones.
All right, I want to pause. Real quick.
Pause. Milk.
Yeah. So, other thing we could do to stop milk is pasteurization.
Does it stop the milk?
Stops the milk from being dangerous.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So, pasteurization was first applied to wine and beer by Louis Pasteur in the 1850s.
Hey, great job, man.
Yeah. He standardized the methodology also for the brewing industry. We will talk about this Chad man later.
Okay.
He got us pasteurized milk and beer.
And wine.
What a pimp.
Right?
Honestly, strap in later.
Yeah?
Okay.
Strap
right.
in, guys.
Love you, boys.
We're back.
I will not apologize for being loud. I will apologize for us being thwarted by the ghost of Louis Pasteur.
Fucking jerk.
Don't worry about it, guys. It's fine. Speaking of pasteurization, the process, it's very simple. All you gotta do is take your substance and heat it between 50°C and 60°C, which is 120 to 140 freedom units, for a set period of time. That's all you gotta do. That's the whole process, guys.
Any substance you can pasteurize.
Pretty much, yeah.
So I could pasteurize water?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Dope.
Oh.
I'm going to pasteurize my Mountain Dew before I drink it.
Sure.
I think that would decarbonate it.
I have a carbonator, so I can just recarbonate it.
I
after.
mean,
Okay, yeah.
I guess as long as
pasteurize and
the,
then recarbonate.
I guess as long as your like carbonation wand is sterile, you should be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the one I have, it's a bottle.
Mhm.
So you fill the bottle with, and it pressurizes through the bottle.
Okay. Yeah. That
So.
should be fine. Notes about pasteurization though. It does not cause you to be lactose intolerant. As we said earlier, it's the fucking sugar, dog. It also does not reduce the nutritional value of the thing you are pasteurizing, and it also does not mean you can leave the milk out to fall out of safety food temperatures once it's been
Wait,
pasteurized.
just like leave it on the counter?
I fucking hate that shit. That was the bane of
Wait,
my existence
who-
when I was a barista.
Does that?
So many baristas. It's
But-
like, if you're making a lot of lattes and you're going through it, like, that's fine.
Sure.
But if you're, like, in between lattes and you're just leaving it out there and then just leaving it out there, I'm like, I'll just throw the whole bitch away. No.
Yeah, that should stay
It's a
cool to the
food-
touch.
Safety procedure. But yeah, also pasteurization doesn't add any extra chemicals or anything. It's just
heat.
you're just making it hot. It's very funny. I have gone through the raw milk TikTok community, and there's a lot of them that buy raw milk and then pasteurize it once they get home.
At least,
But they don't know that that's what they're doing. They're just like, to make the milk safe, I'm gonna heat it up real quick, and I'm like, that's all it is, my guy.
At-home pasteurization kit has a
It's a little
bucket.
It's just a pot on
Yeah.
a burner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Getting it hot to temp, and then it's good. I'm like, that's all it is. So you paid extra money for a raw milk product to pay money out of your own utilities to heat the milk.
You know
Okay.
what? At least they got there. At least they got there.
They got there.
I'm proud of them in a roundabout way.
I'm like, if you want to pay a stupid tax, my guy, like, sure. Fun fact, the process of pasteurization will not be standard in the United States until the 1930s.
Yo, that's not that long ago.
No. There's a lot of things we very much take for granted now.
Under 100 years ago.
That, like,
Yeah.
not even 100 years ago was just like, God, I found a really funny Reddit thread that were talking about how medieval Caitlyn would beat the shit out of trad wife modern Caitlyn
Yeah.
for, like, not accepting pasteurization or vaccinations.
Oh.
For being like, it saves the babies, you stupid cunt. And just, like, beating her to death with the tombstone of her third dead child. I was just like, God, that's a wild take, but completely accurate.
Yeah.
Fucking
Love
I'm
it.
Not ready for RFK Jr. I'm not ready. I'm not ready, guys. It's fine. So, in slightly more delightful news, it turns out the state of Indiana has a long history of leading the nation in public health safety issues and policies.
Yo.
We did a good thing.
Go us. Go us.
We aren't now. I'm gonna avoid getting on that high.
Dang it.
I'm gonna stay on the good soapbox for now. I'm gonna stay on the good soapbox. Indiana passed the Pure Food Law of 1899 and did not give the health department, unfortunately, the funding to actually enforce it initially, which was kind of an Indiana move.
Pretty regular. Yeah.
But eventually they did, which is good. But yeah, we were the first state to start passing like food safety laws,
Hell yeah.
which is dope.
Nice.
And a lot of these processes were spearheaded by John Newell Hurty, the public safety Chad man of Indiana.
There we
Hurdy.
go.
Let's go, Hurdy.
Yes. He worked for Colonel Eli Lilly as the chief chemist for the new pharmaceutical company starting in Indianapolis in 1873. So, hometown boy for us. Also, I keep forgetting Eli Lilly's like a guy.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Just
used to
a
the
dude?
building. I'm used to the building downtown. It's like one of the biggest skyscrapers we have. I know a lot of people that work at the pharmaceutical company. I'm just like, oh yeah, that was just a dude. I don't know.
There's a guy that did the things.
There's just a lot of businesses that were just a guy once, and I forget about that. Continuing on, Mr. Hurdy taught at Purdue University in 1884. He became Indiana's chief health officer by 1896. And this man railed against the causes of major contagions. That was his fucking white whale. That was the thing he was angry about. He would just be on Twitter all the time, just being like, wash your goddamn hands. Fucking assholes. If he had access to Twitter. Unfortunately, it's the 1800s, so he only has Morse code.
Boop, boop, boop.
Telegrams.
Boop, 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 boop,
Use the soap. Stop.
boop.
Lather, rinse, repeat. Stop. You know, that kind of shit. But yes, John Hurdy was famous for his cutting wit and very pragmatic takes on health issues, including describing them as flies, filth, and dirty fingers. Yes.
I actually kind of like that.
He's very descriptive in things where you're just like, oh,
Gross.
this is horrifying. You would have done so good on Twitter, my guy. Like, fuck. Social media, like, would have been rocking the TikTok if we still have it. I don't know. We'll find out by Monday when this actually releases.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll find out. Though a specific nexus of his hatred was towards the dairy industry and particularly its poor handling of milk.
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hurdy and his administration posted posters all over the state with images of tombstones for children killed by dirty milk.
Oof.
It's like the opposite of that one church that's like has the like 200 crosses out on its field every year. That's like, these are all the kids that died of abortions. This is like, these are all the kids that died because you didn't clean their fucking milk.
Just you get them dirty food. Stop it.
Yeah.
Fucking stop. This is
It's like the good side of that.
This is like the dumbest way to be killing your kids. Like literally the dumbest. And I will be following up with the Indiana Historical Society to see if we can find any copies of these posters.
Oh,
Hell
yeah.
Because we did find like a couple of images from his administration, but none of them were the tombstones.
Couldn't find the tombstones, couldn't find the flies and dirty fingers one.
No, we did find the skeleton riding like a fly, though.
Mhm.
Yeah, with a... What's the banner say again?
Plague.
It's just,
Yeah.
Plague? Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty metal.
Or disease.
Disease.
Yeah, it is disease.
It was pretty metal. It's in the Patreon chat, so, you know, you get goodies like that when we're recording. Anywho, John Hurdy had his health department publish an analysis of the dairy industry that was titled Worms and Moss in Milk.
Moss.
Yeah, I don't like that.
No.
Last time I read that, I skipped right over it in my brain. The worms got me, but now, this time, I think the moss is more bothering me.
You're just like, why is there moss in there?
I mean, I've had tequila with worm in it. I've never had a drink with moss in there. That's...
I've had drinks with the blue-green algae in it, never moss that I'm aware of. So a couple of quotes directly from the fucking man that made me lose my shit when I was recording, or researching for recording, was, people do not appreciate the danger lurking in milk that isn't pure. And then also, well, it's embalming fluid that you're adding to the milk. I guess it's all right if you want to embalm the baby.
Yes.
Which is such a wild thing to be saying. He's not wrong. But it's just like, goddamn, sir, this man had no chill. Just everything I was reading about him, he's just like, fuck you, quit being stupid.
Also, I was wrong. I
What?
looked it up. You can, in fact, make liquor from moss.
Oh.
And in Iceland, they often make schnapps out of it. And then Irish moss is a pretty popular drink. And
Huh.
then you can also there's drinks made from sea moss.
Huh.
Sea moss.
So you can, in fact,
I don't
Drink
know.
moss.
I don't know if I want it in the fucking dairy milk, though.
No.
That
maybe
sounds
not in
horrifying.
dairy
So.
milk. Or maybe just not in, like, any milk?
Yeah, no, I'm good. Mr. Hurdy initially advocated for adding preservatives to milk, but his very small dosage recommendations were not followed by the industry.
So he was like, you can put the tiniest bit of formaldehyde.
Yeah, because if you
But-
put like a teeny tiny amount in, like, it's not great for you, but like, it's fine. It'll help preserve the milk and
They were like, dump it in.
pour it in.
They're
He
like,
said it was fine.
obviously we need a gallon of it.
Unfortunately, this led to, by 1901, at least 30 children were found to have died due to the use of formaldehyde in milk within the Indianapolis area, along with Hurdy citing more than 400 children having died due to formaldehyde, dirt, and bacteria.
For milkdehyde?
For milkdehyde. That's kind of what they were making.
They were making for milkdehyde.
Yeah.
Yum.
It was called embalmed milk. That's still just like...
Embalmed milk.
That still is wild.
That is not something that sounds appealing.
No, it's all bad. But yeah, there's just this massive pandemic, like all these kids just dropping dead. They're all like, fuck.
What's
Oh,
wrong
no.
with this one? Formaldehyde. Shit.
Fuck. So after this calamity, Hurdy pivoted and became a major advocate for pasteurization instead. With the fallout from massive outbreaks of disease from 1901, Indiana began prosecuting dairymen specifically for using formaldehyde in their products.
Oh, damn. Get it.
Imagine actually doing regulations correctly. Let's
Imagine
go.
giving a shit about your citizens.
Let's
Whoa.
go.
Wow.
And this was the building blocks that led to formaldehyde being banned as a food product by 1906 federally.
Hell yeah. Thanks, John Hurdy.
Hell yeah, Chad Man of Indiana.
Let's go.
Let's go. So, now we're getting to it. Dairy in WAD.
Oh, boy.
In the world of darkness.
Of
In the
darkness.
canon. So,
Milk cannon.
milk cannon. Speaking of milk cannons, can vampires lactate?
Ugh. Yes?
There are people waiting
Just on bated breath,
desperately.
on the edge.
Desperately.
Just edging,
can
waiting.
They? Can they?
Can they?
Can they?
The answer is kinda. So, okay, here's the thing. So, I'm gonna explain the process of lactation really quickly. And this is why I'm citing this as a yes asterisk as a thing that could happen. So, lactation is the process of inducing mammals through a hormonal change that typically aligns with pregnancy, though hormonal imbalances can cause this to happen to both AFAB and AMAB folks. Which is why sometimes dudes can lactate.
Yeah.
Or sometimes a femme person will lactate and they've not been pregnant ever just because your hormones are all fucked up.
Mhm.
So, hooray! Can happen. The process is blah blah blah. Sorry, brain. The process happens through the alveoli glands within the breast. So there's little teeny tiny glands in your titties. The alveoli form into clusters known as lobules, and these lobules form into further clusters called lobes. So it's a titty fractal.
Pew, pew, pew.
And then each lobe connects to a milk duct. Sorry, it was the lasers that got me. Humans typically have 20 lobes per milk duct.
Okay.
These ducts connect to pores that are in your nipple, and that's where milk comes out.
Right.
Typically, humans have 20 pores per nipple.
So that's 400 lobes.
Yeah,
It's a lot of lobes.
got a lot of lobes in
Lobed
there.
up.
Lobed up. Hey, girl, I see you lobed up in the club.
Mhm.
I'm not proud of myself.
You need a new shirt?
Sorry, I was admiring your lobes.
I hate it. I hate it. But yeah, that's the magic of titty fractals. And it's to induce a milk production, you will be stimulating the areolas, which is where all the sensitive nerve endings are, and that kicks the glands in to go, oh, it's time now.
Boopity boop.
Yup.
That makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
I had a friend in high school who had a locker room trick when
Oh,
we were
God.
changing, where he would just walk up to someone and rub his nipple really hard until milk came out. And now we know why.
Bing, bada, boo.
I'm just more like, how did he figure out he could do that?
Probably by rubbing his nipple really hard.
Yeah.
I think that's how it started.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna just not ask further questions because this does involve a child and I don't want to fucking know. I'm good.
I mean, he was freely putting it on display because he thought it was funny. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I could see where a bunch of teenage boys would just be like, haha,
yeah.
that's funny. Probably unlock some things for other ones.
Man milk.
So, because of how lactation works, I would argue, Because there are vampires who have various medical conditions that don't stop once they're embraced, like being blind or various other disabilities. I guess if you were capable of lactating when you were alive, once you're embraced, sure.
Yeah, but also, I know, like, when you cry blood. So would it be milk or would it just be blood?
Or, like, a combination of the two. Because instead of water, could be blood. I don't know. That's getting into level of details where I'm like, why are we here?
If you go ahead.
Could you blood bind somebody with lactate?
I guess.
If before... I will say this: if before
patrons, you voted for this, you paid for this. Sorry, Hunter.
This was your goal. No, I was going to
was the
say
goal.
if before you were embraced, you were of a medical position to where you could produce enough milk that would be an equal amount of blood to embrace someone or ghoul someone.
A blood point's worth. Of
if you could produce a blood point's worth of vitae pre-embrace, then sure. If you're like my high school friend and you're just making like a little trickle come out, it's just be a cool trick, but I don't think you'd get much done with it.
Yeah. Well, there was that one lady.
Which one lady? You gotta really narrow this down.
Was like, there was like a news article written about her at some point, or she had an interview where she had like overabundance of milk.
Yeah.
To the point that she would like get gallons a day sometimes.
That's
intense.
That does happen. I'm aware that there are like, some mothers during breastfeeding will overproduce, and then there's like a network of women that will donate their overproduction for like moms that are having trouble with lactation to
Which
like
is
support their
fucking
babies,
cool.
which is cool.
Super cool.
Cool. Yay, people supporting people.
So if you had like that kind of I assume it's still hormonal, the amount you get?
Yeah.
You produce?
Yeah.
So if you had that kind of hormonal thing and you were producing gallons, yeah, probably.
Yeah, but I'm also like, when...
You're also probably losing vitae points when you do it, so you'd also have to have a lot of blood to drink on hand.
My thought is like, okay, but because it is hormonal, when you're a vampire, your metabolic processes like stop.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd have to be blushing of life just to...
Yeah, so it's one of those like... Technically, I guess you could. Like,
there's just a lot of steps.
There's just so many steps, and if I am your storyteller, and we're going through this process, I'm like, okay, buddy, I really need you to explain to me why. Where is this going? Is this actually fundamental to your character and the story we are trying to tell, or are you just absolutely fucking with me?
Vampire mommy milkers.
This is one of those points where you say, "Will this affect the story for anyone else in the game?" If no, have fun writing your fan fiction on the side.
Yeah, like if you want to run a game where this is for some reason a plot point. Like, if you want to get really witchy and weird with it, like, girly pop, go for it. Like, that's fine.
If you're doing a body horror game,
this
could come up real well, actually.
Yeah, this could be great for that.
If you're doing some Cronenberg shit, go for it.
Yeah, you want to do some weird, like, sacred feminine shit, that's fine. If you want to do a weird Homelander thing, where, for some reason, somebody's maintaining their ghouls with titty blood or whatever, fine. Cool, man, you do you. Like, I guess I would
write us at blankbodies@gmails.com and Hunter will read it.
Oh,
Thanks,
God.
Hunter.
Okay, we're just gonna get...
And if it's good, then he'll disseminate it across the rest of the two of us.
I'm tired. Oh, speaking of things that make me tired, is just bad anarch slang.
Yeah.
They have a lot of that.
There's a lot of...
Many.
It's one of those, like, I don't know if it's just because, like, a lot of the anarch slang that's written in the canon was written for a different generation, so it just doesn't hit well for us.
Maybe.
Or just because slang just evolves so quickly, it may have worked at the time, but it just, like, fell out so fast. I don't know, but there's a lot of it that, like, is not great, and this is another one. It's called mother's milk. I hate this, personally.
Yeah.
It's a slang term that means it's the vitae being used to sustain and like maintain a ghoul.
Okay.
Which I'm like, why? Unless you're actually dealing with thin bloods or the circulatory system, why would you need a specific slang term for this?
Mm-hmm.
And why is it that?
I know for a fact that a Gen Z vampire would just call it mommy's milk.
Yeah,
Just slightly tweak
mommy
it.
makes it less weird somehow.
Mother's milk
still weird.
Mother's milk just feels uptight and
Mother.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's like, the only time
I
I'm
imagine
okay...
a 30, 40-year-old Nepo baby's about to breastfeed from his vampire mom.
The only time
That's
I'm
the vibe
okay
I
with
get
the
from
term
mother's
for, like,
milk.
mother is, like, the very queer interpretation of mothers being, like, like the head bitch kind of a thing.
And even then, sometimes it just hits wrong.
Sometimes it does hit wrong. But it's just like, oh, I hate this. We're gonna move on to the milk of Set.
Still kind of weird sounding. Pretty much anything that is like the milk of something, it's gonna sound a little bit
Yeah,
weird.
well, the milk of Set has the implications that it's cum, but if you guys want the cum-isode, that's different Patreon tier.
$1,000 tier, come-isode.
No, okay. Now we have to add it.
I mean, I'm just throwing a number out there.
I can't remember. Did you read at the beginning of this episode the
Yeah.
tier ideas?
Yeah.
Okay, so we already went over that. So.
Yeah, I guess I gotta add the cum-isode onto the $1,000 one now. Thanks,
Worth the cum.
John.
Hey, it's worth $1,000.
I have to research it.
Exactly.
I've been
It's
researching.
worth it to me.
I've been researching for that one my whole life. I can help.
God damn it.
So the milk of Set.
Gallons a day.
Oh no!
Gallons! You must be so hydrated.
That is-
Jesus Christ. I am concerned.
Hunter, you should see a doctor.
I have often for many reasons.
Add this one to the list, please.
It's just the little smile he had when he said that really got me. Anyways, so the milk of Set is a ritual for blood sorcery within the practice of Aku by the followers of Set. It's a blood sorcery thing, guys.
Yes, it's not a milk sorcery.
This is canon in Old World. You could probably translate this into New World with the blood sigils rules for making rituals, which is fun. But this power is bullshit. This concoction can be poured onto an object to cause various damaging and or harmful effects.
Oh.
The kind of effects and the damage depends on the level of the ritual. It ranges from 1 to 3 in the original text. The examples of the things that could be done with this ranges from maliciously altering the hard drive of a computer, making a drug more addictive, burning through steel or concrete. The milk of Set burns melt steel beams.
Yes.
The milk of Set melt steel beams. I hate it. You could make the brew follow a target and leave a trail for you to follow later.
What?
You could add the brew to a gas tank to manipulate the vehicle to go where the set type wants it to.
What?
I don't like this one. It's like it's too much of a switchblade for a single ability. I know this is Old World.
It's Old World, so it's a little bullshit. Here's the thing.
And a lot more of the abilities were bullshit, though, so it was more balanced because everything was unbalanced.
bullshit, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I would say if you want to translate this into 5th ed, I like having abilities that are switchbladey, because then or jackknifey, because I like players to be creative. I think the limit should be each brew does one thing specifically, but each brew you can change it to do a thing. Because I feel like if you just have this MacGuffin vial of nonsense, that's a little too much.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a ritual from level 1 to 3.
I would also probably say you keep one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't just, okay, I'm going to do the ritual 5 times with 5 different goals, and then carry vials around like some sort of mad alchemist.
Yeah, because like
I
the
wouldn't
Thin
mind
Bloods,
that as much.
I wouldn't mind that as much. I mean, the Thin Bloods have rules to limit like how much formulae they can stockpile.
Yeah.
But that's also you can kind of play it by ear thing.
Yeah, I would say like
At that
maybe you can carry as many, or you can have as many dots as you have in the ritual.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the
makes
amount
sense.
of them, you know?
Yeah, so however many dots you have in blood sorcery is how many you can have like sitting.
Right.
Okay, that's not the worst.
Yeah, then you start with 1. Then you
Yeah.
get 2. At most, you get 3.
Yeah, I would hope that the contents of the vial looks like milk and not splooge.
That's all just depends on,
But
the
it's
ratios.
the setites, honestly, so who knows?
Yeah.
Could be either.
Truthfully, it could be either. Yeah.
Or both.
Or both. If you let it set too long, it just separates.
Oh no.
Ooh.
I hate my brain.
Yeah.
Because you said that and I went, okay, but does the cum float or does the milk float?
I think cum would be denser than milk.
Is
right?
semen denser than milk though?
I don't.
John, don't Google that. Don't.
Don't Google that directly.
Don't.
You could at least.
John, why are you Googling this when you can figure it out later?
Yeah. Also, I think
I don't want to come into a bunch of milk.
it also depends on like how much water both the cow or whoever made the milk was drinking, and how much water the person who made the semen was drinking. There's a lot of variables here. I don't think we're gonna get a straight answer. The more I think about it, the more the question might be maybe both.
It just remains floating in solution. John, you made a face. Do you have an answer?
No.
He's just learning other facts over there. I'm looking over his shoulder.
There are approximately 20 million sperm per milliliter.
We're not doing the comisode.
I know,
They gotta
but
pay for that, John.
I googled density of semen and I googled density of milk, and density of milk is 1,027 to 1,033 kilograms per meter squared.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I asked density semen, it tells me sperm counts.
We're gonna have to come back to this on the come episode.
Nah, we're gonna circle back. We're gonna have to leave them edging until then. Anyways, milklings.
Ew.
This drove me up a goddamn wall. I'm gonna let y'all know, because if you go to the White Wolf fan wiki, which is a nice little like starting point for research, because you get a good like baseline. Because most of the articles do a pretty good overview of what's in the book canonically, and they give you at least, if they don't give you the book page, at least give you the book, and you can control F the book.
Right.
So it's not a bad launching point. If you go to the Changeling official White Wolf Wiki fan page, the first fucking sentence says that milklings is a derogatory term for changelings. Milklings is derogatory in the canon. And I went, I've never heard that before. Something is knocking. Hold on.
Something sounds strange on that. Doesn't make much sense.
I think I fixed it. God damn it, Louie.
You're bumping.
Boop, boop,
Bumping
boop,
in
boop,
these clubs.
boop, 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 boop.
Louis Pasteur is trying to thwart us again. I hate it. So, says it in the first line, gives a citation for a book called Darkening Skies. It is a Dark Ages changeling source book. I got the book. I controlled F the term milklings because I'm like, weird. I've never heard this before.
Yeah.
The section of the book that uses the term milklings is not even using the term derogatorily. It's just describing how winter court changelings would prefer to, like, get teenagers as opposed to small children, who they refer to as milklings, because, children.
They're on milk.
So, Changeling is one of my weaker World of Darkness splats, gonna be frank. So if somebody has a citation on where the fuck this is, and why it's, like, the first sentence on the wiki page,
I think
that would be cool.
I think I'm the most changeling of the group, and I've literally never heard this term before until you put it in the script.
Yeah, so I don't know where the fuck this came from or why they're making such a bold claim with a citation that doesn't actually support their claim. So
they may be confused.
Somebody might be confused. So
maybe they were thinking that milklings was a term they don't know how to read properly. In this scenario here.
I barely do, so
right.
It's
fine.
So maybe they thought they were saying that milklings was a term used for changelings, comparing them to children.
Maybe, and I'm not saying somebody couldn't use the term derogatorily.
Yeah.
It just, I don't have a canon citation
Just
for it. So
yeah.
just like to say it so boldly like that was just fucking
Wait,
wild.
What?
I was like, really? How is this being used? I want to know. And then went, what? Okay. This was a fucking dead end. And I was just like control effing a bunch of changeling books I had just to be like, is it in here? No. What the fuck is happening?
Right.
I feel like I've been lied to by a fae. Wow.
Who knew?
Who would have known? But I've had to deal with this because unfortunately I'm a Scottish person. So in Scottish mythology, there's several stories about the fae kidnapping and doing body swapping. Doppelgangers are when an adult is swapped out with a fae person. And then a changeling is when an infant or a young child is swapped out.
Okay. So milklings are when a teenager is chopped out.
No.
That's what I'm going to say.
It sometimes, there's a reason why sometimes the changelings are interchangeably referred to as milklings in older texts. No one fucking says that these days because that's crazy.
Right.
But it was a common theme in these old stories for milk or cream to be left as a means to appease or to prevent kidnappings. Or it was the reason for the kidnapping.
Great.
Yeah.
One or the other.
Yeah. Because if you're like, if I leave a bowl of, like, delightful cream out for the fae, they'll, like, take the offering and fuck off.
Yeah.
And then other times they're just like, there's a pestilence upon my house because the fucking fairies are showing up in the middle of the night and milking all my cows.
Because they didn't like the milk I put out.
Yeah, or I didn't leave enough, or whatever the fuck. I don't know.
I'll tell you what, next time I babysit, I'll put some out. I'll report back what happens.
Okay.
Cool.
That sounds good.
Also, if you're listening to this, I am open to babysit.
Hunter's totally not going to accidentally invite a fey creature into your home.
Nope.
Never.
Just count your kids' teeth.
Yeah, you already invited me in anyway, so
Yeah.
how much worse could it get?
You can't just say that. Okay, so...
What? I can't imply that I'm a fey creature?
No, you're fine. You're perfect. You're wonderful.
I have collected teeth in the past.
That is true. That's one of the least unwholesome hobbies you have had.
Gallons a day.
Some tales will also state that the Fae just like the milk and cream because it's like their favorite snacky. Other times, they want the milk and cream because Fae babies can only grow by consuming milk or getting human milk specifically.
That's one of those things you read that seems so mundane, but the more I think about it, the more I'm so glad to live when I do now than in any previous era. When cream was considered like a treat.
Yeah.
You just have some cream.
Well, there's also just the horror. I couldn't imagine the extra horror of like, okay, so you're like a young mom. You're just learning how to like take care of babies.
Yeah.
And your body is also not used to all like the hormonal just insanity it's gone through to like make a person and then push it out.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, I have to feed my kid and for something's not happening and you're having like lactation issues. But you don't have the medical science to understand what's actually happening with your body. So the only knowledge you have to go off of is there are strange beings creeping into your house at night and stealing your tit juice and it's starving your child. Like, that's horrifying.
Yeah.
To just be like, I want to feed my baby, but I can't because I'm being molested in the night by like the Spring King or whatever the fuck. And I'm like, that's super spooky.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
At least if it was a Spring King, he'd be doing it as a joke and not maliciously.
Yeah. Yeah, if it was the Autumn King, it just, that's
to death, probably.
Well, it's better than the Ice King. So, pour one out for our homie. So, I do want to give a note, little content warning, that a lot of these tales with changelings and milk and cream and body doubling and changing and all that kind of shit, unfortunately parallels a lot of issues that mothers will have with processing postpartum depression, along with children growing up with issues like Down syndrome, autism, and various other mental health issues. So please keep that in mind when you're handling these stories. Because, yeah, there is an unfortunate history of, for centuries, just kids growing up, kids just a little weird. Kid would have been into trains if they had trains. Mm-hmm. And the parents go, that's not my kid, yeet.
That's a fairy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeet.
Yeah. So, keep it in mind. Be respectful. Guess who's not respectful, though? Motherfucking Louis Pasteur!
Get it. Wait. Fuck you, buddy.
No, like, Louis Pasteur is cool. Unfortunately, his ghost is not cool.
Messing with us for like a month.
He's gonna be goddamn plaguing goddamn blank bodies, apparently. I don't know what I have done to invoke his spirit and his wrath, but,
Here's a quote from him.
I am on the verge of mysteries, and the veil which covers them is getting thinner and thinner. The night seems to me too long. Life, as manifested to us, is a function of the asymmetry of the universe. The universe is asymmetrical, for if all the bodies in motion which compose the solar system were placed before a glass, the image in it could not be superimposed upon the reality. Terrestrial magnetism, the opposition between positive and negative electricity, are but resultants of asymmetrical actions and movements. Life is dominated by asymmetrical actions. I can even imagine that all living species are primordially in their structure, in their external forms, functions of cosmic asymmetry.
Louis Pasteur.
Right, thanks, Dick.
It's probably a really cool quote, too.
Yeah, it is a really cool quote. Yeah, I was just looking up one quote to be like, oh, just kind of find something fun to have Werewolf Daddy read. And I found this man just spits bangers repeatedly in ways where all the time I was reading through so many just pages of Louis Pasteur quotes and just going like, all of these just sound like WOD content. Like, it's bananas. And unfortunately, I think I have gotten Werewolf Daddy possessed also by the wraith of Louis Pasteur, and I am sorry, everyone.
Yeah.
But
We all suffer the consequences of pasteurization of the spirit.
hopefully, if we finish the tale of Louis Pasteur, maybe we'll be able to free Eric from his curse. Let's go and figure this out together. So, Louis Pasteur was born on December 27th, 1822 in Dole, France. And for those
Banana capital of the world.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And for those who are wondering, it's just northeast of Geneva, Switzerland.
Nice.
You have no idea
Fantastic.
where the fuck that is, do you?
That's where hot chocolate's from, right?
And watches.
Yep.
And shady bank accounts.
Yep.
And cheese. A certain
And
type.
cheese. I hear they've got a couple Alps around there.
Just all of our European listeners just fucking screaming. So, Louis Pasteur graduated as a double major in both arts and science from the Royal College of Besançon.
Besançon.
Yeah. Which we did in our first attempt at recording, look up some of his paintings. They're pretty good, actually.
They are.
Yeah.
They are not bad.
Not bad. He was a good little artist man.
I think I posted a picture in the chat.
You did. That's what the portrait was. He also was admitted into the École Normale Supérieure in 1843.
Good for him. What's
Yeah.
that?
That is a really fancy science academy.
Oh,
Neat. Get him, buddy.
And he obtained a Master's of Science in 1845 and a doctorate in science in 1847.
So he was 23.
Which is
when he got his
crazy.
master's.
Which is bananas.
That is bonkers.
Was it just easier timeline-wise to get a master's back then, or was he just working that hard?
I think a little column A, a little column B.
There was less stuff to know.
There was less
There was
science
less
at
stuff.
the time.
There was less stuff. Don't worry, he's gonna add a whole lot of science here very soon.
Let's go, buddy.
Louis Pasteur also married Marie Laurent in May 29th, 1849. They have 5 kids, and unfortunately only 2 of them survived to adulthood.
That's what gets him going.
That is a way to put that, Hunter. Good job.
I took a sip of water, fuck you.
That's his origin story, that's all I'm saying.
I was just happy to be like, Louis be fucking.
It
Yeah,
could
I mean,
be
this is
both.
true.
I'm just.
Also, it could have just been only 5 times.
I doubt that. He's
Only
French.
5 times
That's true.
ever.
5 times. He's French. I
He's
doubt
just
that.
very,
fair.
very efficient with it.
You see that? Here's the thing. I'm like very thoroughly convinced that Louis Pasteur was just this Tism Riz lord.
Yeah.
Just like reading through his career and just how he bounced from project to project to project.
Yeah.
We're gonna go through a small list of these. I'm gonna call them Pasteur points.
Nice.
One, his first big accomplishment, he discovered molecular asymmetry and established the practice of stereochemistry.
Wow.
That was
If I knew what that was, I'd be really impressed.
yeah. Basically, I figured out that molecules, like organic molecules,
Yep.
they're not balanced. They're asymmetrical, which
Okay.
allows for different chemical processes to happen.
Okay, cool.
And he was also able basically to document this with light.
Cool.
Yeah, I read this like 2 months ago and had an understanding of it when we were trying to record this bullshit initially, but some of it has left my brain since then. So
Okay.
I'm sorry, everyone.
I feel like this might be a little bit out of the bounds of our show to explain as well.
Oh yeah, just like, hey guys, I'm gonna have a whole tangent about explaining stereochemistry.
Go watch a YouTube video. I'm sure someone. I'm sure there's one.
I am an arts person that enjoys science and I like doing science communication, but I am not a scientist. That is outside my wheelhouse.
Stereochemistry. Noun. The branch of chemistry concerned with the 3-dimensional arrangement of atoms and molecules and the effect of this on chemical reactions.
Yeah.
Now everyone knows the definition.
Yeah. So the next thing, his next Pasteur point, he established germ theory by disproving spontaneous generation, which established our understanding of anaerobic bacteria, fermentation, and the science of bacteriology.
Hell yeah, man.
So he's got 2 new branches of science just in that belt.
Under his belt.
Hell yeah. The next one, he developed practices for epidemiology by studying diseased silkworms.
Did he disease the silkworms?
No. So Europeans were like, hey, silkworms are cool. We like silk. So they brought a bunch from China over to France, and then the ones in France just kept dying. And then Louis Pasteur went, I need a new hyperfixation.
Come here, silkworms.
I'm not busy enough.
Yeah, right. This is why I say it was only 5 times.
He's just taking quick breaks from his notes to like pound his wife and then go back. Which honestly, pound his wife, like get some bread and cheese, a glass of wine, and just go back to his notes.
The life.
Goddamn right. He also developed vaccines and established the foundations for immunology and medical microbiology.
Damn.
He first started off by studying cholera in chickens, and then he studied anthrax, thus confirming it was in fact a bacteria.
Oh.
And then most famously, he studied rabies and did the first rabies vaccination that was done successfully.
Rabies is fucking wild.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if it's most famously.
Yeah. Well,
I think he most famously is known for the thing that was named after him.
most people don't. Well, okay, the things that people know about Louis Pasteur is the pasteurization and the rabies story. Most people don't know he was fucking with chicken or silkworms or doing portraits.
Yeah, that stuff's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, this man developed like 4 branches of just biochem.
Get it, buddy.
Like we said, he added a whole lot to science.
He just went
very quickly.
He just went, not enough science.
Gotta make some more.
Gotta make more science. Here's another quote.
There are 2 men in each of us. The scientist, he who starts with a clear field and desires to rise to the knowledge of nature through observations, experimentation, and reasoning. And the man of sentiment, the man of belief, the man who mourns his dead children and who cannot, alas, prove that he will see them again, but who believes that he will and lives in the hope, the man who will not die like a vibrio, but who feels that the force that is within him cannot die.
Louis Pasteur.
Wow, Louis. That was pretty thoughtful,
That's
buddy.
pretty-
So beautiful.
Yeah. Smart lad.
Smart man is smart. So, this is where Louis Pasteur's timeline now intersects with the World of Darkness timeline.
Oh, no.
Yay.
There will be spoilers for the 30-year-old Chronicle module Alien Hunger. So if you want to run it for whatever reason, I guess skip.
Dumbledore kills Dumbledore.
I mean, yeah?
Yep.
I don't give a fuck about spoiling that book. Fuck that turf. So, Louis Pasteur, in his later years, and this is like actual canon, unfortunately he does like have a stroke and then has like ailing health in his later years, but he keeps working up until the end. During this time period in his later life, Louis Pasteur is pushed to study the possibility of reverting the vampiric condition by some fuck-ass vampire named George.
Is it George or is it Georgia's?
It's
There's an S
spelled,
at the end.
yeah, it's spelled George's, but unfortunately I studied French for too long, so when I see a consonant on the end and I've been talking about French shit, I just drop that.
That's fair.
Sure, but it could have been a
George.
coalition of multiple vampires named George.
See, that's what my brain said the first time I saw this in the script. I was like, okay, so there's at least 3, like a coterie, all named George, and they're like, we're gonna get him.
There might be a collective of vampires just showing up one at a time at Louis Pasteur's house and being like, hi, I'm George, and he's like,
Okay.
well, you are a very different shape tonight, George. And he uses Dominate to be like, no, I am not.
Malkavians.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, that's the only description they give of George, is just say it's George. And they don't even say what clan he is or anything.
I
No
love it.
details. Just George shows up and goes, hey, Louis, I got a challenge for you. And he's like, "Bleh, okay. And then this Chad man goes, I'm on it. And he kind of does, which is the scary part. So Louis Pasteur creates a serum out of the blood from George that George donates for the study process. And Louis Pasteur, being the mad lad he is, injects the serum into himself
Because that's what you do.
to, like, test it.
That's science.
Well, not just to test it. It also says here that he was having a stroke.
Well, after he had complications from the stroke in his later life.
Okay.
So in the World of Darkness canon, to help like maybe circumvent some of those things, he was also injecting himself for like personal reasons.
Okay.
But he injected himself with his like medicated ghoul serum so much that when he actually died due to the complications of his stroke, he just was a vampire.
Okay.
So he had to fake his own death and fake being buried alive. It's like, buddy, what? Ridiculous. And then he fucks off. Because, he's like, well, my family thinks I'm dead, and I'm working on this vampire serum that apparently works. I gotta go.
Made me a vampire.
I gotta leave. So, Louis Pasteur travels and continues to work on his research, but he is hunted down by the ancient Nosferatu elder known as Thaddeus. Thaddeus, who fears that the serum could mean that Thaddeus himself will face the wrath of his ancient Roman gods that he has stopped worshipping. Because he's just weirdly paranoid. He's like, the gods will get me because I've been bad at being a pagan. Oh no. He just gets in his head that the serum means that he'll be able to be murdered by the gods or something.
Because they couldn't have done that if they were
It's weird.
there anyway, right?
Elder paranoia.
That's true.
Yeah.
Elder paranoia gets kind of wonky.
Yeah, so he just has this, like, beef with fucking Louis Pasteur. Because of his vampire serum research.
God damn it.
So Louis Pasteur decides to run to the safest place you could think of, Denver, Colorado.
There's probably not a lot of vampire stuff going on. I don't, not enough for it to have its own book, I'm pretty sure, so.
Okay, so, unfortunately.
There's like Chicago by night. I don't think there's like a Denver by night.
Not particularly, but there is a Denver court because of this module. So there is at least enough kindred in Denver to necessitate a prince and a court and all of that. So Louis Pasteur moves to Denver, Colorado under a fake name, but it's still fucking Louis Pasteur. Well, I mean, I don't know how many people look at pictures of Louis Pasteur. Like, we have photographs of the guy.
Right.
Which is crazy also, because that's the weird time period he was in, is that there's paintings of him, but then there's also actually photographs.
Huh.
I'm just like, time is weird. It's great. But, yeah, so he has a fake name, moves to Denver, keeps doing his research. Thaddeus finds him.
I wonder what his fake name was.
It's in the book.
Okay.
I'm not going to spoil that.
That's
it's
fair.
also not important
That's fair.
for this. So, Thaddeus, in his infinite fucking wisdom, it goes, okay, well, instead of me attacking Louis Pasteur directly, I'm going to, like, blackmail the Prince of Denver into, like, sending a hit squad to take out Louis for me, because I can't just do things on my own, because I'm an elder and I'm crazy.
Right.
So Louis gets the word on the street that this little hit's coming for him, and he's like, ah, shit, I know what I gotta do. I gotta build me a little squad of serum vampires.
Okay. I'm down with it.
And he's like, all right, I'm gonna nut the fuck up and be a dad. I'm gonna make a bunch of vampires, teach them vampire ways, and hopefully they'll, like, help keep me safe. Because even though I'm a vampire, I'm still frail old man Louis Pasteur. So the start of the module is supposed to be your players that are these little serum freak babies in a basement, waking up and not knowing what the fuck's going on.
Huh.
Because supposedly in the canon of this module, Louis Pasteur is killed, and his last and final act of conscious existence is to protect his little serum babies.
Aww.
I know.
That's cute.
Chadman Louis Pasteur. Should I read the little quote about how he dies?
I can read this one.
Yeah, go for it, my guy.
Louis Pasteur lay on the floor. With both legs and arms broken, he could do naught but watch as the flames danced and flickered around him. Why now, he thought. Why now of all times? The fledglings, what will they do? His thoughts turned to the basement, which his assailants had overlooked in their haste, and to those who would soon wake therein. He held that picture in his mind's eye as he mercifully slid into blackness. The flames continued their mad dance around his prostrate form.
No, Louis.
That's from
Damn.
Alien Hunger, page 5.
Yeah, so, fun facts of the adventure, is you and your little buddies, your little serum baby friends, figuring out what the fuck's going, like, figuring all of that shit out, and then figuring out what you're gonna do about it. And there is a portion of the module that lets you find an antidote of the serum, because it turns out Louis Pasteur had figured out a way to reverse vampirism, asterisk, only if it's a serum vampire.
Oh.
If you're a regularly embraced vampire, he never cracked that, but he did find a reverse for the thing he did.
So, I think I asked this last time, but I wanted to bring it up again.
Yeah.
So, he's got a character sheet, right?
Yeah.
So, do we know what clan he is?
They list him as a caitiff.
Kind of makes
Oh,
sense.
yeah.
Now
Since he wasn't directly embraced.
Yeah,
and-
the module does give pre-gen characters for you to give the players, which I think is fine if you have new players that are not used to VTM and they don't know what they're doing, and you give them a pre-gen.
Pre-gens are useful for lots.
But yeah, the pre-gens are like, there's like a caitiff, a Ravnos, I think there's like a Gangrel and a Ventru, like a good little mix of characters. But you could also just like make up whatever the fuck you want.
Right. I like the idea of making this like a Thin Blood game.
Honestly, though, that's the thing. That's the hear me out. Now we're gonna have one last Louis Pasteur quote before we get to the hear me out.
Okay.
The idea of God is a form of the idea of the infinite. As long as the mystery of the infinite weighs on human thought, temples will be erected for the worship of the infinite. Whether God be called Brahma, Allah, Jehovah, or Jesus. And on the pavement of those temples men will be seen kneeling, prostrate, annihilated, in the thought of the infinite. At these supreme moments there is something in the depths of our souls which tells us that the world may be more than a mere continuation of phenomena proper to a mechanical equilibrium brought out of the chaos of the elements through the gradual action of the forces of matter.
Louis Pasteur.
Yeah, Louis, fuck religion.
I mean, there's a religion quote. So, fuck God, here we go. So, I know the module writes Louis Pasteur is a caitiff, but he's a 13th gen caitiff, so hear me out. What if Louis Pasteur is actually a thin blood? Which means I think that'd be cool if there's a thin blood alchemy thing where they can just, like, do and undo the thin blood state.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like having a whole adventure around that's, like, really fucking cool and interesting.
It would turn them into a vampire and then turn them back into a full vampire and then back into a thin blood?
Oh, no. To go from, like, thin blood to human.
Oh, yeah, that'd be crazy.
That would be insane.
I mean, they already can get abilities that, like, let them walk in the sun and shit, so, like...
Yeah.
Oh
so
my
just
gosh.
Louis Pasteur, like, Chad Thin Blood Man, I think is rad as fuck.
What if the SI got a hold of that?
Well, here's my other hear me out. So, there is some controversy around Louis Pasteur and his end days in real world. So apparently, according to the book, Pasteur and his work by de Castor from 1922, Louis Pasteur had given his family his laboratory notes in secret, which they kept hidden and passed down from generation to generation. And then per the book, The Private Science of Louis Pasteur by Gérald L. Guisson in 2014, these family secret notes were donated to the French National Library by his last remaining male descendant in 1971, and these remained in the restricted section until 1985. So hear me out. Based on these real-world implications and then some of the fun hee-hee from the World of Darkness canon, I think it would be cool. You could run a Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle where people are, like, getting Louis Pasteur's, like, last research notes that might actually have the last little clues and things to, like, potentially, like, reverse thing. That is a red herring MacGuffin. You can write whatever the fuck you want in there with the Masters of Science.
Yeah, that's cool.
Which is cool.
That would also be fun to run as a follow-up to Alien Hunger, since you're, like, his kids trying to, like, track down his notes to figure out what the fuck happened to you.
Yeah, or just being like, are
Like,
we
what
actually
he did.
vampires? Are we just thin bloods now? What the fuck's going on?
Are Thin Bloods vampires?
Yeah.
I think we are.
And then the yes and the SI thing, I think there could be some really cool Hunter the Reckoning games written, well, like, hey, there's these secret research notes about vampires. What if we got those and used them to make, like, a secret bioweapon?
Right.
Like, there could just be a whole vampire, like, Hunter the Reckoning Chronicle where you're trying to break into vampire shit to get these notes.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's so much cool shit you can do with this.
Yeah.
But
You get the notes,
Mhm.
next cron or next arc, you figure out how to make the stuff.
Mhm.
Third cron or arc, excuse me,
yeah.
you are then using it
Mhm.
on yourselves to go fight vampires. And then when
Oh.
you're done fighting the vampires, you can go home to your family by re-stabbing yourself with
Yeah.
the serum.
But maybe you like it too much.
Right, but then you find out that
Like,
it's
you
like
get addicted
incredibly
to it.
addictive, or
Yeah.
it's like really, really bad for you. So every time you go back to being a human, you're like,
Yeah,
You're
'cause-
losing a
12
health
years
box
older.
or
well,
something.
it's like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like all of just repeatedly having all of that aging catching up to you over and over again, just
Oh, yeah.
murder on your systems.
right. That's a cool idea.
There's honestly a lot of really cool shit you
How
can do with
how
that.
many times do you go back and forth before either you stop using it or
Mm-hmm.
you say, well, I guess I'm going to stay a vampire?
Yeah, or you just get stuck.
Yeah.
It works a little, it takes a little longer every time, and then
Mhm.
eventually...
There's a bunch of just really cool shit you can do with this on
Mhm.
both sides, and I'm like, it's
Ooh.
metal as fuck.
Or you get stuck as a human,
Mm.
and you can't be embraced. Because your body grows immune to it.
Oh my god. It's like reverse steak bait.
Yeah, like you can't
Damn.
get Gould, you can't get embraced. You're just like a human no matter what.
Yeah, you're like, oh, this is cool. I can't be Gould. And then you realize, oh, I can't be Gould.
Yeah. That's probably not good.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean for me? I feel like hunters, like a hunter org getting a hold of these research notes, like, this is how you get a Father Alexander Anderson. Because they start figuring out ways to, like, take the serums and, like, do thinner versions of it that give just, like, temporary power boosts and shit.
Yeah.
And I'm always recommending that you steal from Hunter the Vigil
Mhm.
whenever you can, but there is an entire Hunter compact in that.
Monster X?
Yeah, that they're basically just it's just scientists who are trying to study the supernatural as a as like
just a
all
phenomenon.
science. This is
Yeah.
all just, and they write like research papers and share them between each other.
Mhm.
It's like them getting a hold of this too would be.
That'd be crazy. I'm also thinking on the vampire side because there could be people like, I don't know, like Church of Cain guys that are really upset about this because it like undercuts the divinity of Cain.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to destroy this shit. So your pack's in a mad race to get the research notes for the Church of Cain guys, like destroy everything.
Yes.
I'm like, there's so much fun shit you can do with this.
Yes.
So cool. Honestly, though, I will give Sarah's quick capsule review of the Alien Hunger module.
Mhm.
Pretty good intro. The beginning's a little harsh for people that are not used to World of Darkness or vampire shit.
I guess if you're waking up in a burning house.
Well, no. You wake up, the house is, the fire's out.
Oh, okay.
But Louis Pasteur tries to embrace, like, a dozen people into your little, like, serum family.
Mhm.
And only, like, 5 or 6 of you, like, actually get embraced. So you're waking up for your first hunger with, like, no one to explain anything.
Gotcha.
And the book talks the storyteller through like talking the players doing their first like horrendous crimes and shit like that. So I'm like, that might be a lot for people that are not prepped for it. So you
Yeah.
might need to do a consent to calibration check if you want to go that hardcore mode. But other than that, I'm like, this is a great little module. I think you could definitely tweak it and use it for 5th ed stuff pretty much like no problem.
Hell yeah.
I think the easy solution, though maybe less super interesting, is just to make all the players the vampires.
Yeah, just get rid of the extra like fire sex people.
Either get rid of them or make them NPCs, and then they're still having to deal with, well, what do? We're hungry.
Well, you know,
They're-
those
they're-
extra characters are NPCs that you're supposed to like
Eat.
describe. Yeah, doing a
Oh,
murder.
okay. So all the players are vampires.
Yes.
It's not even just them trying to figure out who's what.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah, just all the player characters are vampires, and you're stuck in a room just like, man, what happened? Why is everything smoky?
See, I was
Man, I'm hungry.
misinterpreting how that started. I think that's kind of a cool start to Vampire because it is
Yeah.
basically serving up on a silver platter the core,
core
like
horror.
horror
Yeah.
of the series. Is like, this is how are you going to do this? Can
Yeah.
you have just a little like?
Yeah, no, I think that's fantastic. It's just, if you have friends that are used to more kids glove kind of gaming like D&D, I think chucking them just into, you're in a basement and you're you're hungry and you're gonna do crime now, might be a lot for certain players, but you know,
Just check in first.
yeah, just
Yeah.
make sure, just do a calibration check. That's my only like caveat. Otherwise, yeah, you're fine.
That's a session 0 talk where
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how you run it. You have to tell your players. This game involves feeding. If you're not into feeding at all, we probably should play a different game. Like, we don't have to go into detail,
Like,
but if you're not into the...
Yeah.
If you're not okay with at the core that happening and being important to
Yeah.
everything that's about to happen...
That's also a way you can very accidentally quickly find out that, you know, some of your friends are like, yeah, I'm cool with, like, doing, like, a gross slurp feeding scene, and then you have one friend that's, like, way too into it, and they're just like, yeah, I'm going in beast mode and ravenous. I'm just gonna, like, describe bone popping out of sockets as I, like, rip this guy apart and chew him, and I'm like, okay, buddy, that was a lot of energy. Holy shit.
That just sounds like when I play Barbarian.
Yeah, it's
Snuff
just...
bone hard.
Yeah, no, this is just, I am trying to hedge bets against the folly I have had when trying to, like, introduce people to World of Darkness, is sometimes one person's definition of spooky is not the same as the other person's definition of spooky.
I would say most of the time.
Yeah.
People are afraid of different things. Also, I looked it up just to touch on a previous point. The group from Hunter the Vigil I was talking about, so it's not V5 canon, but if you want to look it up, it's Null Mysterious. Mysteris.
Spell that one more time.
Mysteris.
I was gonna say their group's insignia shit looks metal as fuck.
Yeah, it's from Latin. That's why it's spelt so
Weird.
funny. It's Nullium Mysterious Processit, or out of the unexplained comes nothing.
That sounds cool.
Again, very metal, but I'm also just like, I feel like I'm just gonna set all these nerds on fire. They sound annoying.
They are the nerds of the Hunter the Vigil world.
Yeah, we're also in an age of just me being annoyed at some dork ass nerds that are just like, buddy, you just need to accept you're never going to be cool. You're never going to be able to buy it. I'm having fun watching you suffer, you fuck. Anyways.
Jesus. Sarah's having a moment.
Yeah. Anyways, hopefully that has appeased the spirit of Louis Pasteur. Amen. And I think we've finished the milkening.
The milkening has commenced.
We've put so much
Wait,
fucking
no.
effort into this because fucking goddamn Louis Pasteur won't get out of my goddamn house.
Concluded.
We've
The
concluded.
milkening has concluded.
How are we feeling about this, guys?
Wet.
Oh god,
Not really.
damn
Don't worry.
moist.
Slightly moist with the milk.
Phlegmy.
Mm-hmm. You know what's really funny? For having to re-record this back half, I did buy another fucking iced chai and I left it downstairs, so I'm gonna have it for next episode.
Hello.
That's twice now that you forgot to have your milk drink.
No,
during the
I had it
recording.
last time.
Did you bring it
Yes.
up? I thought you forgot it last
No,
time.
no,
too.
no, I had it last time.
Okay.
I was sipping the oat milk chai.
I believe you.
Thank you.
I had a Mountain Dew.
Anyways,
Diet.
thanks Paralyze for the muzak.
I didn't drink anything.
Check out them on the Bandcamp.
Yeah.
Support
Yeah.
artists doing things, especially in this economy. It's gonna suck.
Ba-dam-ba-dam.
We are still on Instagram at blankbodiespod. I don't know if we'll still be on. I don't know if TikTok will be a thing. If it is, we are Blank Bodies Podcast.
I'm on Blue Sky.
Hunter is on the Blue Sky. I am checking to see if we can make a Xiaohongshu / Red Note page because I think that shit's funny as fuck.
We're gonna teach China about World of Darkness.
I have
Hell yeah.
honestly though, if I get the spoon, I need to get the spoons for it. I kind of want to ask people in China, do they know World of Darkness over there? And if they do, what do they think of Kindred of the East? I have so many questions.
Oh no.
I know. I just want to know. Because I'm like, yeah, I don't know what their TTRPG gaming culture is like over there. And it would be cool. I did pay my cat tax, though. I got my receipts. Any other social media things that we might be on in the coming year, we'll update you as we figure it the fuck out as a internet community. But we do exist on Patreon, and thank you all for getting us to $500 a month for our first Patreon goal. It means a lot. I appreciate y'all supporting us.
It's fucking neat.
Yeah, being able to do this project has opened doors for us to do cool stuff, and we hope to continue to do cool stuff.
And we've met a lot of cool people.
We've met a lot of rad people. We got a cute little community rolling on. If you want to go check out our community Discord, blankbodies.com, there should be links to that. We've got people running games, playing games, hanging out, sharing projects they're working on, helping each other write characters and build lore. And I guess we're doing thirst postings on Thursdays now. Thanks,
Oh
Go-Go.
boy.
Look, I support people rizzing each other up in a respectful manner.
Yup.
If it gets too porny, I will wrangle it in a little bit.
That's what we have OSHA for.
I'm just saying, if it gets popular enough and porny enough that we need to make a specific channel for that, we will, I guess. But, like, just don't get our Discord banned, guys. That's all I'm asking.
That's pretty hard to do, but if
Yeah.
you guys do it, naughty,
Grounded.
round.
Grounded.
We also do an interview series. So if you do a cool project involving gaming, goth culture, music, art, you got a fun thing you want to share, let us know at blankbodies@gmail. We will talk to you about your cool things and stuff.
Yeah,
If
I've had
you
some
are a
people-
real vampire, if you are a vampire, listen.
I like that you dropped real.
If you are a real vampire,
Mm-hmm.
hit me the fuck up.
I did find, funnily enough, the first set of like thirst trap edits that I found on Xiaohongshu was definitely Sam Reed from Interview with the Vampire. It was very funny. Like, and just going through the comments of that, fucking unhinged. The girlies on Red Note, feral,
Yeah.
because I was
Oh,
having to
no.
use the bubble translate to figure out what the fuck they were saying.
Yeah.
Some of it was fucking unhinged
Beautiful.
and like perfect. I was like, I found my people. My Chinese spy brought me my algo. I'm so proud. Anyways, goodbye.
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 Rest well, Louis Pasteur.
Yeah.
Cad man of dairy.
You're pretty chatty.
Yeah.
You're also a fucking dick.
Rest in peace. Oh yeah, and I've did this last time. I think the story made it past the time things broke down, but I do want to apologize to what's his name? Not Tom Green. The guy from Indiana who writes books.
John Green.
Yeah, John Green. I'm sorry when I was in high school I bullied you when you were an adult and I was a child.
Oh yeah, I forgot we talked about that story. Son of a bitch.
So
Yeah.
sorry that my more genuine apology got lost in the edit, but I'm sorry, man.
You're actually doing good things for the world. Whoops.
Keep it up, pal.
Whatever. Bye.